Well, I certainly stopped in an awkward place last time, but I'm sure that's going to keep happening in a lot of the Fire Emblem games. It's going to be a bit tough for you to deal with us if you're getting in from outside of your attack range. Granted, I very much doubt that Wrath is going to be the one to take you down, but still. Yeah, let's get that angelic robe onto Lyn. Certainly seems appropriate since Lyn is about the most angelic on the team. I suppose Florina is kinda close competition in that regard? Oh dear, I don't like Florina's chances against that bastard. And like with so many other enemies in this game, I doubt I'm gonna remember his name. Bool might be distinctive, but that's the only distinctive thing about him. He's just got the honor of being the first soldier boss we've run into in a game that so far has had us fight against quite a number of bandits to make it this far. And I'm sure we'll face more soldiers as we keep pushing forward with Lindis and her legion. Definitely looks like Wrath softening this guy up is doing a lot more damage than I thought it would. It helps that this boss hasn't been standing on ground that lets him heal with every turn, I swear. That gimmick just got old pretty damn fast. That probably would have been useful against Bool, but frankly we don't need it since he's just standing there letting Wrath turn him into a pincushion. That feels so utterly obvious. I feel insulted he felt the need to tell us. Sorry, going to have to give the blade to Lyn in the next mission. We're not going to have time to do so in this one, not at the rate Bool is getting ripped apart. Matthew, we've been thinking as strategically as we can at this point. The game is kinda handholdy, though, even this far in. Again, this is our 7th mission of the game. And we are about to finish it. Can we please have less interrupts in the middle of a mission as we get things done, since we have learned a good amount about the game and how it works this far in. Looks like Lyn isn't gonna get to land the finishing blow on this guy after Wrath wore him down. And that's another one for Kent, putting him ahead of Sane, for the moment at least. We'll see how long that lasts. Yeah, may as well let Sarah get a bit more healing in before we end this mission. Now let's get things moving. I've had more than a long enough break for this game. Hell, I probably should have at least finished the actual gameplay part of this mission before I split things off last time. Considering the enemy was guarding the triggers to activate it, I don't think it was hidden well enough. I'm actually kind of surprised we didn't have to fight our way through the castle in order to get to the Marquess. Instead, the local lord was saved the instant we solved things on the outside. Indeed, my lord. Not really sure why he told Wrath to leave. It's not like we're about to talk about any state secrets or something to that effect. Part of me wants to complain about him calling it petty, but to be fair, it's not like I know how Kalen compares to his own territory's holdings. Still, the fact of the matter is he's going to use that as an excuse to not help us. Granted, the amount of help that Kent was expecting was wishful thinking. There's no way we'd get that free of a ride to our goal. Still, the way he's taken that offer from us is more than a little annoying. You mean the fact that Lundgren will stop at nothing? Right, so he's a racist bastard on top of being a rich fop who is hoping helping us wouldn't actually be of any trouble. That's more than a little awkward here. Careful there, sir. You're insulting someone with a crew of very loyal and badass warriors. And your manner would tax the discipline of quite a few people. It's almost enough to make me regret bothering to fight in order to save your little fiefdom. And for God's sakes, Kent, this was obviously a lost cause. Let's move on, since this bastard doesn't seem to have any empathy to spare. No issue with a man that attacked your realm gaining political power. Bloody hell. Even if we don't ever see this jackass again, he's quickly gaining more hate from me than most of the others in this adventure. Kind of a good thing when it comes to writing a villain, but I kinda hope he does have some appearances later on in the game so it doesn't feel like a bit of wasted heat. I wanna really make him pay for this. I can certainly respect that, and thankfully this story doesn't force us to have to do so just to make things more pretty or something. Indeed, and we've already done plenty of fighting that's above our weight class just to get this far into this adventure, so we may as well keep fighting like this to finish things off. Well, to be fair, it's not like there's been too many opportunities to hear if she wants to go to Kalen or not. And we absolutely have to go there for the sake of keeping her granduncle from sending assassins at her for the rest of her life. Or at least his life. Not to mention, she does want to meet this grandfather she didn't know about, since she's got no other family to speak of, so onwards and all that. If you're looking for arrogance, sir, just look in a mirror. Oh, bullshit. You would have continued to say no. Did you have to say that while in earshot of the captain of your own guard? I'm pretty sure you're still in arrow range here. Maybe not him personally, but they do reflect what you feel for his entire people. Yeah, I'm pretty pretty sure his contract is now terminated. Not too surprising he's going to be joining our party, but it's still a bit awkward since now, why bother having Will if Wrath can do everything Will can do and has faster movement? It's not like archery is especially amazing in most Fire Emblem games anyway, not when magic more often than not feels like a more effective ranged attack than arrows. As someone with the ability to see some cutscenes that you don't, I can confirm that he's being poisoned. Then it's a good thing we get stronger with every battle. Have a significantly large party at this point. It's not just these 3 characters. Well, it's not like we have the choice of any other plan, so it's not as if we had the option to leave you behind at any point. Not that I would make that kind of choice, just that her thanking us for sticking around feels a bit empty under the circumstances. Kind of wish we could have warned Lynn that Wrath was going to join us. Not that it's all that big of a thing, but it can get a bit annoying that our perspective character somehow gets to see and hear things that the people we're immediately around don't have any way to learn. Hell, if this game didn't have a player character, it wouldn't really do much of anything to the narrative as a whole. Accept it for you. The more gold we have, the less likely we're going to have supply issues later on. Besides, I'm pretty sure he just plain stole that gold from the bigoted bastard he used to work for. Returning it is not an option. Right, on to the next mission then, or at least the start of it, since it looks like the actual gameplay of the next mission will have to be in the next clip. We can at least go through the setup for the mission, though. Excuse me for finding it hard to really feel like we're racing against time here. It's not like we can see any in-game counter telling us how many turns or how many minutes we need to finish a given mission to succeed. Sure, there's a hidden turn counter that will count how many turns it took for us to get to the end of the campaign, but it's not like we can actually see it at this point, so I just can't find it in me to care all that much about any need to hurry up. Don't worry, kid. The protagonists are on the way. Well, that's certainly pretty blunt from a generic-looking civilian. Maybe he can sense that he doesn't have anywhere near enough plot armor for this shit. Or maybe it's a case of the guy has no combat ability whatsoever, and it's obvious that helping the kid would involve some fighting. Either way, I doubt this guy had any power, so I can't really feel anything for him. Not helping this person we've never met before. Just... yeah, seriously. Can you blame a helpless civilian for not helping someone who's got people who are probably willing to kill after him? Someone who looks distinct enough that he's definitely gonna be recruited by the hero's party soon. Nice to know that we're relatively close to our destination. It's not like I'm likely to memorize the maps for the region after all. I'm not especially great at geography in the real world, much less in various fantasy settings that I might only visit for short intervals. And it's not like the fact that we're 10 days away means much of anything to me, since we just keep skipping ahead to when things get interesting around here. I'm pretty sure our character has narcolepsy or something. I somehow doubt you have the money to hire mercs, kid. While I can kind of appreciate the caution there, Kent, it doesn't seem like Lundgren's style to use kids as agents to screw us over. That would require a bit more subterfuge than he's displayed. The man blatantly sent soldiers into a neighboring territory, not even hiding that he was doing so. I would have thought something like that would be political suicide to screw over his chances, but clearly he knew the Lord of Arapan better than Kent did. Well, you won't have to worry about being without her for long. We've got a good number of eager fighters that would love to get into the thick of it. And thankfully, they never have to worry about being on the moral low ground. Anyway, now I get kind of what Kent is saying. He apparently just doesn't seem to realize this isn't that pretty of a story, even if some brutal things have happened in Lynn's backstory before things really got rolling. Well, to be fair, I don't think the two kids are locals, not with the way the random civilian reacted to the boy. Certainly seemed like a stranger to him. Those are easy words to say to a lord with a conscience, Kent. Something about that choice of word doesn't really feel right from saying. That's possibly because we've never heard him having an accent. Because, again, there's no voice acting in this game. Well, we've yet to have major problems before now, so unless they're several steps above our usual foes, I don't think this is going to be much of an issue. Wait, so they get their own theme music? I suppose that's a little on the menacing side. Nurgle? Good God, don't tell me we're going to have to fight against a deity from Warhammer 40k later on in this game. Sure, whatever Lynn did there must have been nice, but unfortunately it's not like we get to see it. I don't suppose you want to elaborate what this is about, do you? So you say, but you have no idea how many people we had to kill just to get this far. I think you're underestimating us more than we're underestimating you. Why couldn't we have seen this message while we're actually in the preparations screen? And why did the game wait until we got to the 8th mission before starting to give us the ability to do a little prep work before we actually get a battle started? Again, I get that there are a number of things they want to introduce to the player over the course of the game, because again, this is the first game in the franchise that went outside of Japan, but come on, there had to be a better way of pacing all the teaching us about the various game mechanics, and a better way to convey all that information. Well, if the maximum of guys on the team out there is gonna be 8, then I'm afraid that Will is definitely going on the bench, like I said before. And there's not much use in having Matthew along either, since there aren't gonna be any chests to open, and Lynn is definitely a far better swordsman. So, yeah, not a whole lot of thought needed to be put into deciding that. I really doubt we're gonna need a door key out there. Part of me kind of wishes there was more we could do to prepare for the coming fight, since we now do have the prep screen. The other is just glad that we finally gained the ability to do some pre-battle prep work at all. I'll wait until I start getting outright to the game queue entry in this franchise before I start asking for a lot more in terms of what we can do before a fight starts. Well, I definitely appreciate the ability to look at the terrain and try to plan things to some degree before the fight even starts. It's also nice to be able to check what the stores are going to have available for us when we get to them, though in some later missions we're probably going to have to worry about fresh enemies spawning in partway through, and we're not always going to have convenient stores. Anyway, that should about do it for this clip. Hopefully there won't be nearly as long of a wait for the next one for this game.